conjugation of regular verbs in the present tense. First of all, we have to get some terms straight. The first one is an infinitive. The dictionary form of any verb is the infinitive because it's not specifying who's actually doing that action. Here are some examples in Spanish and what they mean in English. Patinar, bailar, tener, escribir, vivir, estudiar. Now, in order to make some sense of this, we're going to group them in certain ways and learn some of the skills to make this a whole lot easier. First, infinitives, those kinds of verbs, can be sorted into 3 families, and each of those families share the same looks and behaviors. First, there's the AR family. That's the one that has the largest number of verbs. And it's the first one we're going to learn. Then the ER family and the IR family, which is the smallest set of verbs, and they steal some of their characteristics from other families. Next, infinitives can be broken into 2 parts. First, there's the stem, and that's the part that actually carries the meaning of the action itself. And then, the ending. The ending always means to, no matter which way it's spelled. So we have estudiar, can be divided into its stem, estudi, and ar, to mean to study. Comer, an ER verb, would be divided com for eat and to eat. Escrib would be the stem and ir the IR infinitive ending to get to right. Now, let's talk about that big old family of AR verbs and what their characteristics are. Once you remove the AR, you can put an ending that's unique for each of the different 6 subjects that you might use. Instead of having to rewrite the whole thing like with ser, where we had soy, eres, es, somos, and so on, the AR family just has a preset ending for each of the 6 subjects. For yo, you're going to put an O. For tú, as. For usted, él, and ella, a. Nosotros will end with amos. Vosotros with ais. And ustedes, ellos, and ellas will share an. Notice the color coding? It makes it fit that verb wall in Mrs. McGraw-Smith's room. Okay. The ER family characteristics, once you remove the ER, will look like this. You don't need to write these down now. We'll get to them in the next chapter. As well, we get to the IR verb families. Once you remove them, they have their set of endings. You notice they're very similar. But let's go back and study those AR verbs. Let's practice. First, take the verb practicar. Why not? Practice with the verb practice. To practice, practicar. You would remove the AR ending, and what would you write for the yo form? I practice, practico. The tú form, you practice, practicas. You practice, he practices, or she practices, practica. We practice, practicamos. You practice, practicáis. You practice, or they practice, practican. Practico, practicas, practica. Practicamos, practicáis, practican. Here's another one. Let's have some fun. To vomit. Write the 6 forms of the verb vomitar. You could push pause if you'd like to while you work on this. And here come the endings. Vomito, vomitas, vomita, vomitamos, vomitáis, vomitan. And take a minute and look at this. If I were to ask you, how do you say we vomit? Which one of those 6 is it? Right, vomitamos. How about they vomit? How would you ask someone Do you vomit? Vomitas? Okay, now I'm going to give you 6 sentences to practice. Write your answers down in your notes. Can you tell me what those 6 sentences mean in English? That would be the next step. Here are the last 3. Now, as you're starting out learning these, it's a good idea to write every verb you find in a new vocab list in all 6 of its forms until you get to the point where you know o, as, a, amos, ais, an, like the back of your hand. Very much good luck to you today.